Welcome to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network, a station dedicated to the concept that all manifestations of the divine are equally valid. Join Reverend Terry Power HP, Robin McKean, and all the hosts for programming covering a wide range of spiritual topics, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Has been won, and now our true work begins. Welcome to the Elysium Project. In the Olympian tradition, Elysium is the highest heaven the human mind can conceive. Join Hercules on his latest and greatest quest, making the life we live and the earth we share a paradise for all.
Greetings and welcome to the Elysium Project. I'm your host, Hercules Invictus, and today's show is the path of public service. How can we become more involved with the political process? How can we take powers back into our own hands and make a real difference in the world? So without further ado, welcome Michael and Dianne Dunkin from the Sixth Revelation, and we will be discussing celestial governance. Greetings and welcome back to the Elysium Project, Michael and Dianne.
Greetings, Hercules. It's so great to be with you. Thanks for having us tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your generous offer to have us tonight.
Well, you're awesome guests, and it's an honor to have you here. Thank you for being on. Astrid and Bill, for an hour and a half, discussed all the challenges facing humanity and suggested ways in which people can get more involved from an earlier age up until way past the retirement and becoming more active in the political process. And they both shared wondrous stories from their own lives and gave a lot of insights and resources. And one of the things that I am personally doing is getting more involved. And one of the exercises that I started as a result of my interactions with you is imagining a better world and thinking on actualizing that better world rather than trying to fix a broken world full of problems. So I've been spending a lot of time, visualizing an ideal world. What world am I going to help create? What world am I going to help defend as it comes into manifestation? So what wisdom can you share? What insights can you offer about this emerging new world?
Well, I can tell you that there is tremendous hope.
Yes.
And thank you for doing that, Hercules, for offering your efforts and your mental energy and your positive vibes for a better world. We also do the same, Diane and myself. That's why we're doing this mission and working so hard. But there is hope. There is hope because Maitreya is here as the Christ. He is one of the leaders.
Yes.
He is one of the leaders in the celestial government. And he is, as a matter of fact, we're told that he is the sovereign of this planet at this time. He is the fifth Buddha. And he is working very hard with other celestial leaders within the celestial government of, our planet, of our local system, our local universe, super universe, and even the gods, the high gods, the universal Father and the infinite Father and infinite Mother, that they are all working together to focus on this planet, to focus some of their energies. I mean, I'm sure they have a lot to do. But they're focusing a lot of their energies on our planet at this time to to restore this planet to pristine beauty, to restore the beauty, the tranquility, and the calm to this planet, and to make this planet a beacon of light for the Father. Now, we also have our part, like you're doing your part, we're doing our part also, Hercules, and one of our missions as the sixth revelation is to share the work and to share the love of the celestial government so that people can understand what they're doing, and in turn, in our turn, be gracious for all their work and do our part to make this world a beautiful place.
And that is an awesome mission. In a very short period of time, we'll be launching our third and final podcast. And after that, we're moving into a different platform. But it will be called the Pride of Olympus. I've been working on it for a very, very, very long time. And finally, everything clicked into place. And there, the Sixth Revelation will be joining other groups, such as the Unarius Academy of Science, the Aetherius Society, the Heart Center community, and Mark Age, the Healing Haven under Hilarion, the Motok Chronicles, and a lot of other what some people would call New Age, but that I think is a misnomer, groups that are working towards this process, each in their own way. So I'm greatly looking forward to the dialogues starting there as they have with some of our other conversations, because everyone will be of much more like mind. And it will be very interesting to see how that flowers into initiatives into the world and into joint projects that actualize this greater vision.
Well, I think that that is fantastic work, and we are. I'm an interfaith minister, and
yes.
We are dedicated. Yeah, and we're here with you, Hercules, and we support the other groups that you're linking up with also. We are interfaith champions too, interfaith cosmic argonauts, and we see in some of these other traditions, that you spoke of, like Aetherius and Mark Age, and the one that the Normans started.
Unarius, yes.
Yes, Unarius, yes. I've done a little research on those lately since you've been discussing them, and it seems that there is a very important role that the celestials, whether it be solar system celestials or, like in the Urantia book, goes a little bit beyond solar system to, local universe, super universe levels and things like that. But it seems to me like each of those groups is really looking forward to hearing from our more evolved celestial brothers and sisters to find out how we can live better lives and how we can make this planet better. So we are definitely on board with that. Hercules, thank you for your efforts. We're definitely there too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm honored that you're here, and thank you for your efforts as well. It is very easy to get discouraged as one hears the news, regardless of what way the news is slanted. There are many, many challenges ahead, and we somehow, as a planet, are losing hope. So the message of hope alone and the focusing on something positive and something good coming out of all this is very powerful. I remember Star Trek, the original series, and even though it was low-budget sci-fi on television, the message was one of hope. And humanity had transcended its problems, and it had solved a lot of the challenges facing us, and we came through okay. And now we have gone into the universe and are exploring it and facing new challenges. And the positivity of that message was phenomenally powerful. And I know it inspired me a great deal when I was younger.
Well, there is a lot of information floating around there, especially in the Urantia book movement, of which, I'm a past president of Urantia Book Los Angeles Society, and my wife is a past leader in Urantia Book Los Angeles Society. There's some information that has been floating around the community that Gene Roddenberry might have been a student of the Urantia book. I think Nick Curto has mentioned that on a past program.
That, yes.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the Urantia book, you read the Urantia book and you find that it is a friendly universe and that we have a lot of, probably most of them, are kind of looking out for us. They are involved in each one of us, in our evolution, the evolution of the planet. We're told that each person has seraphim, and each person has what we call guardian seraphim, like guardian angels. So the Urantia book, when you read the Urantia book, it provides a great deal of hope and comfort in that it is a friendly universe. The gods have tons of mercy credits for us, but we have to do our part too. We can't just sit back and live a destructive lifestyle and expect to or a destructive belief system and expect to have our souls gain that salvation to move on. And I think Dianne is.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say that we have a kingdom with a king, and he is in charge of this huge government of celestials, and they are trying to normalize our earth right now. In other words, we may be a little bit out of control, Hercules, in many areas right now. And to attain those goals that you are visualizing, in other words, you are doing absolutely right. If we visualize that we are going to have terrible events happening, then that is what is going to happen. We have to visualize what we really feel is the correct realization of our planet, the correct result, and what we really want to happen. Of course, we do. But on the other hand, we do have to understand that there will be changes on the earth to attain these goals that Maitreya has set up.
Good point.
And we have to be unafraid. I know Dora, who was his the archangel that is ahead of Maitreya, she told us that we mustn't be afraid of these changes. Now, I have just been told that just this week, actually, of some changes that may occur in the financial departments of our world. And they're saying there's going to be a major correction, a major pullback in the 7th year from now, the year of the dragon. That will be 7 years, about 2024. Major, up to 40 to 60% correction in the housing market, in our commodities, in our gold, 40 to 60%, an average of 50%. We are not to fear this. What are we to do? What are we to do? We are to prepare. We are to take the knowledge of this and use it so that we are in good stead if this does come. In the Bible they used to talk about 7 years of lean and 7 years of fat. And King the Pharaoh, he built up his granaries to prepare for the 7th year, which would be the lean year, so that when the 7th year came, the granaries were full and no one despaired. Everyone had plenty. That's the story in the Bible of Joseph and the Pharaoh. This is kind of a change that we have to prepare for. They're saying in 7 years, just like in the Bible, there will be a pullback, a correction. I know I was walking my child to school and back, and I noticed a brochure on a house that had just sold, and they were saying, you know, the house was just sold for $840,000. Well, you know, we bought our house, you know, for just a piddly 40 years ago. And and the powers that be are saying that house will sell maybe for 400 in 7 years. Now, we have to prepare. There is no reason to fear or despair, but you do have to prepare. And sometimes these pullbacks and corrections are important and necessary to attain the goals for everyone, the prosperity for all of us eventually. And we have to normalize. We mustn't look at these things as, oh my God, you know, this is a fatalistic thing happening. No, we have to say we have to prepare. We have to be strong. We have to be a leader for others that may not know what to do or be unaware of what's really going on. Then that's where the leadership, I think, is, and that they are trying to prepare us and everyone who joins the Father in the 10-year plan. He is going to be giving them the messages that are going to help them get through these periods of time to when we actually can have that paradise on earth. Because to have that paradise on earth, there's going to have to be enormous changes.
Oh, indeed. There have to be changes. And having a positive vision of hope is very helpful as we navigate through these times, because the way that the changes are being presented is very negative for the most part and bereft of hope. So there's a lot to overcome if you're looking at world events through the lens of our present understanding.
Yeah, I think some of the disturbing things, though, are the things that are being exposed to the light. We're seeing in a lot of different areas, economically, morally, socially, we're seeing things that have been out of control exposed to the light. And I think that's part of Maitreya's mission. Now, Maitreya's 50-year magisterial mission has been going on for a year now. And I think everyone would agree that there's been tremendous upheaval on the planet.
Oh, yes.
You know, there have been, you know, we just had some earthquakes out here. I mean, Kilauea is erupting right now. We had all the fires. We had all the floods. We've had all the tsunamis, you know. I mean, we've had that throughout history, of course, hurricanes. But we've had storms in the political arena, in the economic arena, the social arena, you know, in the corporate arena. We have the Me Too movement. We have we just have so many things. We've got, you know, Kim Jong-un in Korea. We've got Iran. We've got changes in the Middle East. There are so many things that are in upheaval, but it's a seeming upheaval. All of these underbelly things that have been out of control are now being exposed to the light, and we can't be afraid to face them and to see them and to help Maitreya in our own way and even politically make those changes happen for the better.
And the light will come, but we must remember that the result will be Maitreya's success. Everyone will benefit eventually when we get these problems solved. But the problems do have to be solved. But we have to keep that clear vision of the paradise, of the perfect world, because that's the result that we want. And if we want that result, we've got to have that in front of us, knowing that it is the truth, that it really will happen.
And there are some simple things. I mean, you know, I listen to some financial stations, you know, that give financial advice on the radio, and the main thing they say is to get out of debt. Now, if our government if our United States government, who is the example and the economic leader for the most part in the world, if they are out of control and they cannot balance their budget, what kind of an example is that setting for other people, for just you and me and, Harry, Joe, and Sally? The government needs to get itself out of debt. It needs to balance its budget. It needs to be in control financially. And there's something simple that each person can do. Each person can get out of debt. And they could stop and evaluate and say, how can I get my finances in control? And then you talk about health. What am I doing in my lifestyle that is damaging my health and damaging my happiness? What can I do to rectify the lifestyle habits that are causing me ill health? And then you talk about relationships. What kind of relationships? Who do I need to forgive? So that I can have happiness and they can have happiness. It goes on and on and on. It's a global awareness in what needs to be done globally, but also personally too. Because, like you say, we visualize for the world what we want the world to be, but we also, Maitreya says, visualize that perfect life for yourself too.
For ourselves as well, yes. Very important.
Yeah.
One of the
please go on.
One of the resources I found, I picked up this book years ago, and I just haven't had a chance to read it. Now I started reading it. It was called 2050. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
It's a science fiction book that is set partially on the astral plane.
Oh.
And it's instructional, but I work very much in my dreams, and that was my first attraction to the book. But this book shows a futuristic society that has solved a lot of the problems that we're currently confronted with, and has triumphed, and has created world peace. Wonderful. And a clean environment and a fulfilling, spiritually focused life. So in reading it, it's been expanding my mind to new possibilities in my visualizations. And
how wonderful.
There is a movie called No Solar, and it was called Astral City, I think, in English. And that, too, has an afterlife astral city where people are focused on spiritual growth. And that, too, provides a fuel for the imagination in imagining something better. And it strikes me how much of our entertainment is focused on conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how little of our entertainment is focused on a better world, experiencing a better world.
Mm-hmm. It strikes me as interesting that we have so many major religions in our world, and yet so little is really talked about the astral worlds. Everyone says, we're going to go to heaven, but they really talk very little. I've gone to church all my life in many different churches, and they really don't talk about the astral worlds, and this is something that people need to know about.
Yes,
and
I agree.
To more understand, and that they do even exist. A lot of people don't even know they exist. And we're told even by Paramahansa Yogananda that there's thousands and thousands of different levels of astral worlds, and the perfect one that you vibrate to is where you'll go. But of course there is a perfect plan, encompassing all of that, to take you up to finally to paradise. But it's so strange to me that people are not more interested in the astral worlds, because our life here is very short. And
right.
If you accomplish these goals, and I know they seem enormous, but we're told if we visualize the perfect life and we're thinking that everything is the way that we want it to be, we're going to be a lot happier, and we're going to accomplish those goals a lot easier. And the reward is there. You don't just die. Of course you do go to heaven, but it's a long road to heaven, and those astral worlds are in between, you know. So,
indeed, and during the Pride of Olympus, we'll be exploring a lot of the astral worlds. Every group that I've come in contact with has attained some sort of access to certain of the astral worlds, and some of them have shared information. And I know through my own experimentation that those worlds are accessible if you desire to and believe that you can go there during dreams or during your meditation. And I agree with you. I believe that much more needs to be known about the astral worlds.
Yes. I think people would have a very different view of their life if they did. And I think that it would be very important for people to realize that this is just a process, from one to the other. And I really think people would certainly view their life just the way that Maitreya is trying to present it to us. Being positive, being happy and more joyful, considering others and their welfare. And I think that our monetary is just getting a little too, we're spending too much time gaining money rather than really grappling with the relationship issues and the moral issues and the life that we lead, having not to do so much with the material. Maitreya says that in the future it'll be more sharing rather than buying outright. And this will make everyone happier to spend more time enjoying each other. My husband and I have kind of in a kidding way, we say that we want to go back to the 50s. Because I remember just being outside under the umbrella and having iced tea all Saturday, going to church and Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon gathering with relatives. And, we would go, we wouldn't shop on Sundays because all the stores would be closed, You just window shop. But people seem to think that life was simpler. So that's our message for tonight, to be more simple.
And I've just been informed we have a little bit more than a minute.
Okay.
A minute exactly. If you could share how people can access your wonderful work, that would be awesome.
Well, thank you again, Hercules, for tonight. I think people getting into thinking about the planet and to thinking about everything going on politically, so vital, so very important, because we need to focus on the issues that the world faces. Just wanted to tell you about paper 72 in the Urantia book. Is called Government on a Neighboring Planet. And it's got some really nice insights about a successful little continental nation on another planet that has worked out. That's paper 72 in the Urantia book. You can download the Urantia book at urantiabook.org and truthbook.com. We have a wonderful YouTube channel. It's called Michael and Dianne Dunkin. I just put up 3 music videos today on our YouTube channel, Michael and Dianne Dunkin. We have over, we have 35 videos, Urantia book topics, celestial team meetings, songs, and artwork.
Oh, awesome. Thank you again. I'm looking forward to speaking to you very soon when we have the Sixth Revelation show very shortly. And again, you're awesome people, and thank you for your awesome message.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Right back at you.
Thanks. Thanks to all who've joined us. And until next time, this is Hercules and the Dunkins signing off.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. Join us 7 nights a week for exciting programming covering a variety of expressions of faith. And remember, all manifestations of the divine are equally valid.